bail refused for accused killer BHOSIP KAIWI. A preview of Gulf Province in My Province, My Country. And Telikom PNG celebrates 65 years. Good evening, I'm Charmaine Poriambep with Monday's news. Our headline stories later in the bulletin, but first, they say no dream is too small or too big. This mother of three has proven just that, starting with selling vegetables at the Mount Hagen main market. She now owns and operates Swain Trading, a small trade store selling store goods and clothing. Shelley Wayne, who is based in Mount Hagen, flew to Port Moresby over the weekend to expand her customer base. Shelley Wayne started her small business venture with garden produce. Married to a Western Highlander, she happily lived in her husband's village at Manda Valley with her 3 children. Living in the village gave her the advantage of making gardens and supplying garden produce to Mount Hagen market. She added chicken farming to her list as revenue increased. When she saved enough, she opened up her own small trade store at Warakum Junction.
I use my own kakaruk money long operating na running this trade store. And then me come that far, I went into sewing into bilum sales also.
Based in Mount Hagen, Shelley gets orders all over the country. She already has customers in Australia because of a sense of clothing and bilum style. She registered with Palm City Markets for an opportunity to promote her products. She was pleased with the opportunity to meet some of her Palm-based clients, mingle with other SMEs and market her business.
So me come loya SME beginner long kisim some idea long how me can running like market blomi business blomi na looking more some customers blomi face to face me talk to go come or to you must some like and legal advice or giving me long how me can adjust.
This lady from East Sepik and Southern Highlands says nothing is too big if you set your mind to it and not get distracted. She said being a mother to young children can be stressful at times, but credits her family for the support.
Yeah, beginning na allow something this lot to one plus something with dragging pulling back me all merry low walking some plus something, but don't give up, push forward now, walking mad.
Shelley plans to open a shop in Port Moresby in the near future. For now, she markets her products on Facebook and sends orders through mail to her customers outside of Mount Hagen. She will return home soon and has this advice for women who are still having doubts about starting a business.
Plenty all marry, but you ask him all, you can do that, make him this, but all man blow me also and I'm no supportive this line, but the main thing is also not gonna give up.
For those who are interested to purchase one of her fashionable Mary blouse or bilums, you can visit her Swain Trading Facebook page. The Ziffer Singh Primary School in Wampar of Morabe's Huon Gulf District has excelled to a school of academy. The academy will now become the 366 model school for Morabe. The Ziffer Singh School of Academy was launched by Prime Minister James Marape over the weekend.
Jefferson Primary School is now a school of academy. With its new status, the institution will have 4 early childhood learning centers. It will be taking in its first intake of grade 9s next year and will be providing food services for grade 8 dropouts within the school and those from surrounding schools.
From Arab, we want this kind. We want high school, grade 9 and grade 10 because we are level 6 school. We are big school.
The transition of Jefferson Primary to an academy is a step in the direction of Morabe's education policies, which include the 366 and zero dropout policies.
366 long ting long mipla lo province and by straight him desla heavy blown grade 8, grade 10, na grade 12 dropouts.
So we built this infrastructure to upgrade Jefferson Primary School to Jefferson School of Academy to implement the government's 366 concept. Hence, first intake starts next year. I thank my good governor, Honorable Ginson Sauno, for seeing the urgent need for this and has committed 5 million kina towards the establishment.
The launch of Jefferson Primary School to a School of Academy was commemorated last week with the opening of new learning facilities by the Prime Minister James Marape in the company of Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, local MP Ross Simo, invited MPs, Morobe Governor Ginson Saunu, and the Jefferson community.
Education is the way to go. Education and source plong all the development by come up. Sabe to sol in up long bringing all the seni sikam sad long place, district, na province, na country blom mipla.
Parents and citizens, can we all work with our district, work with our LLGs and councillors and governor, and work with our teachers and supporting our school systems in our district. Is that okay?
Shalin Eri, National MTV News, Lay.
In our Independence Special tonight, we travel to the provinces in the southern region to showcase 45 years of independence. Here's a preview of Gulf Province. Gulf's story today is a contrast of sorts with a lot of natural resource developments, yet the province lags behind the rest of the country in social economic developments. With the absence of key infrastructure and government utilities, very limited income earning opportunities, and prohibiting landscape that has had a great impact on mortality and literacy. That neglect spans back to the colonial period when Gulf, under the territory of Papua, came under the protectorate of Australia.
I think the province started not so well, particularly from the point of view that the province did not have sufficient funds to operate. Secondly, the infrastructure was never there. The Australian government in those days focused more on the territorial, the United Nations territory of New Guinea, which involved the highlands, Mamosi region, and New Guinea Islands. Papua was an Australian territory, so much attention was not paid to Papua. And as such, there was no infrastructure. In Gulf Province at the time, we only had one high school, and that's Coronation High. We also had the Mission High School, Kwaru High School, which was run by the United Church, called the LMS, but this was then disbanded because the church could not run that system, education system. So later in the years, we decided to move it up to Malalawa. So you see, the infrastructure was not there, never there. The health infrastructure, the transport infrastructure was never there. Somehow, along the coastline, we had a number of wharfs that were built by the colonial administration, and I think that was just about that. And airstrips, no. Only the church was involved in, not the government.
And our Independence Special can be seen on MTV following the news tonight. This is MTV National News. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to the news. Bail has been refused for the man accused of killing his wife. The National Court today refused to grant BHOSIP KAIWI bail based on two grounds. A presentable BHOSIP KAIWI with neatly trimmed hair and a decent white shirt and grey trousers appeared before the National Court this afternoon to hear the decision on his bail application. Courtroom 5 was filled with anxious relatives of both the accused and the deceased Jeneline Kennedy. Acting Judge Justice Paul Tusais presided over the matter. Justice Tusais, in his judgment, wasn't satisfied with the submissions presented by KAIWI's lawyer. KAIWI's lawyer had sought bail on the grounds of a pre-existing medical condition, threats to his safety due to COVID-19, assaults from correctional service officers and other inmates, and custody battle over his children. Justice Tusais ruled out all the grounds as unsubstantial. This is because KAIWI did not produce evidence of his asthmatic condition, which he claims is an existing medical condition. Also, the court established that the CS medical officer who suggested granting bail is not the officer in charge of Bomana Clinic, as he claims in his affidavit. On the other grounds, Justice Tusais said KAIWI currently faces no threats of COVID-19 or threats to his life by other inmates because he has all along been confined in a segregated compartment at the Bomana Correctional Facility. For the custody battle over his two children, the Correctional Service has indicated that they can escort him to and from the welfare court if he pleases. The biggest concern, though, by the state was interfering of state witnesses. With all these facts established, Justice Tusais said bail is refused on the grounds that the applicant, or BHOSIP KAIWI, is likely to interfere with witnesses and the offense consists of serious assaults. One man has been apprehended as police continue their investigations into an attempted robbery at the National Newspaper Head Office. NCD Central Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. said on Friday morning, 3 men entered the premises in a sedan dressed as government workers. They attempted to rob the office and in the process fired a shot. Police were immediately alerted and found a vehicle abandoned at Hibiscus Street, Hohola. The suspect that was apprehended is detained at Boroko Police Station cell for processing by CID Boroko. The PNG Fashion and Design Training Workshop commenced in Port Moresby today. 30 young and aspiring designers from the Central Province and NCD will undergo training on fashion designing and creation, as well as business skills in marketing and entrepreneurship. Among them, 4 persons living with disabilities.
It's not new. They are just like us, but just few problems that they have that disables them to take part as normal human being. But otherwise, we function as human being. Whatever we give, they take it. So I am here to guide them and empower them with the skills that they will use in the long run.
The island of New Guinea is home to some of the world's unique flora and fauna, from the eastern end of West Papua to the southernmost tip of PNG. The island made the headlines overseas this week for the discovery of the New Guinea singing dogs, a species thought to be extinct by world scientists. The species has been found thriving in the wild, still echoing their distinct howl in the rainforest of the Papuan province of Indonesia.
The New Guinea singing dog was considered extinct in the wild, but scientists reported last week that dogs live on based on DNA collected and tested. In September 2016, inspired by nearly 3 decades of study, an expedition team led by James McIntyre, a field researcher and founder of the New Guinea Highland Wild Dog Foundation, took a trip to the mountains of West Papua to find evidence of the existence of this dog species thought to be extinct in the wild. McIntyre tells MTV News they set out trial cameras on their trip but collected nothing in the first 3 weeks. Then on the last day, while collecting the cameras to return back to the US, they found from the 12 cameras, one camera misfired, another camera had no pictures on it, but the remaining 10 cameras had 149 pictures of the dogs. Unfortunately, time caught up with them and they had to leave the next day, but made a return trip in 2018. The team braved extreme weather and terrain in order to collect blood, hair, scar tissue and saliva samples. McIntyre says after setting up the trial cameras, they conditioned the dogs for 2 weeks to enter 2 live cage traps. And after 2 weeks, the camera showed the dogs were going in and out, the live traps were set and 2 dogs were captured. The team immobilized the dogs, did veterinary examinations, took measurements, examined teeth, attached GPS collars and collected biological samples. It was the samples that were brought back to the United States to determine the true species nature of these wild dogs in West Papua. And the results came back and confirmed that the dogs were not extinct in nature. They live on and thrive in the wild. McIntyre says they will return for one more expedition in May 2021. He says they have sufficient genetic proof from this area, but will need to collect samples from other areas of the island of New Guinea and have plans to look for and collect samples of highland wild dogs in Papua New Guinea. He further says he has collected very reliable circumstantial evidence in several areas in remote areas of PNG where these dogs might be. Ruth Rungula, National MTV News.
And now looking at the Nesfund market report, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.2870 in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, the Kina is buying $0.2795, $0.3793 Australian dollars, $0.4157 New Zealand dollars, and 29.01 Japanese yen. Looking at the commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee and copper closed lower, cocoa closed higher, crude oil is trading higher, palm oil closed unchanged, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The son of a Seventh-day Adventist missionary in Western Highlands Province is giving back to the community by building a state-of-the-art church in his village in Mount Mole. Island Mobile Hire Car's Managing Director David Rhyme officially handed over the church key to the SDA mission.
It was a timely independence gift to the SDA mission. The old Mount Mole SDA church was decommissioned and built within a span of 5 months. Island Mobile Hire Cars MD David Rhyme encouraged these local people to give land to the mission for them to develop it.
When something Western mission company program lo make when can work le working on school lo working on when can something pastor lo power from Western mission here.
David Rhyme's father, Rhyme Pongla, was a pioneer layman or missionary with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. At the age of 23 in 1955, he left his Koroka village in Mount Mole and went to Paglum Adventist School, where he first started his missionary work. He then became a translator, tractor driver, and a doctor boy at the former Togoba Leprosy Center, now a health center.
Missionary na drabun dragata tanam talk blani or gai putim or peanut or gan gai kaw Brian mula gai rendi binit now mula karem gai rendi binit karem golong stua.
Seventh-day Rhyme, as he is well known for, is one of the first locals in Western Highlands Province to become a SDA missionary. One of his peers is Tendawak.
People sacrificing time, people money, people employ more missionaries or laymen, longo ultimate good news.
Today, it is one of the 4 mainline churches in the province and has more than 100,000 church members. Vasinata Yama, National M.
Berry Gold Mine in New Island Province has worked within strict COVID-19 protocols with the goal to prevent community transmission. Working closely with the local community and the New Island Provincial Health Authority, Berry Gold has increased testing for community travelers entering the island from mainland, New Island and other islands.
The Simberi Community COVID-19 Committee, or SCCC, which comprises Simberi Gold Company Limited, the community and local government leaders, is implementing measures consistent with those outlined by the New Island Provincial COVID-19 Task Force. Simberi Gold Company Limited's management of COVID-19 is built around 4 central pillars: barriers, monitoring, tracing and support. And in living up to this, it has assisted the local communities through initiatives such as PPE donations and making testing kits available. The company has also erected billboards around the island as part of an ongoing awareness campaign about the risk of COVID-19 community transmission. In an attempt to prevent COVID-19 from entering the island, fly-in, fly-out employees have been tested at airports in Port Moresby, Toku and Keviang prior to travel, creating the first barrier to preventing community transmission of the virus. All travellers must return a negative test result before they are allowed to board flights to Simberi. Upon arrival, they are quarantined for 7 days, during which time they are tested on day 4 and day 7. Finally, they must return a negative test result before they are cleared for work. For expatriate employees, Simberi Gold Company Limited complies with the national government's quarantine measures in Port Moresby. Expat employees also undergo rapid testing and temperature checks at Jackson's Airport before travelling to Simberi. Simberi Gold is happy with the outcome of this measure, saying it has been highly effective. In Simberi itself, the company continues to assess the risk of local boat traffic and travellers coming to Simberi by water. This includes directing all boat travellers to designated landing points for rapid testing and temperature checks. Ruth Rongola, National EMTV News.
The National Capital District reported 1 new COVID-19 case on Sunday. This now brings the country's total cases to 511. The country has also recorded another death from coronavirus, bringing the total confirmed deaths to 6.
The latest case is a 42-year-old male health worker who experienced sore throat, fever and cough. He was swabbed at Paradise International Hospital and tested positive. NCD now has 300 confirmed cases and Western Province to date has 185 confirmed cases. With NCD continuing to report cases every day, National Pandemic Controller David Manning has again repeated calls for residents to strictly adhere to COVID-19 protocols. He is calling on all provinces to be vigilant and for health facilities to continue testing. Meanwhile, the country has also recorded another death from coronavirus, bringing the country's death toll to 6. The deceased is a 39-year-old female from NCD who died on the 6th of this month at Port Moresby General Hospital. To date, cases have been reported in 13 provinces in the country. The provinces include Western Province, Central Province, Morobe, East Sepik, East New Britain, West New Britain, Milne Bay, Southern Highlands, Eastern Highlands, West Sepik, New Island and the autonomous region of Bougainville. So far, the majority of the cases are mild and moderate, and more than half of the cases are asymptomatic. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
The country's telecommunications company, Telikom PNG, today celebrated its 65th anniversary. This event marks a milestone achievement for the company since its inception in July 1955. Over the years, Telikom PNG has revolutionized communication services in the country from analog to digital.
A small ceremony today at the Telecom PNG headquarters saw all staff and other stakeholders in attendance to celebrate this milestone achievement. As part of its celebration today, awards were given to its long-serving members to recognize their service to the company. Telecom PNG acting CEO Amos Tepi says they are recognizing long-serving members as it is not an easy task to be committed to an employer.
I am proud to say
Telikom PNG Limited is 100% owned and managed by Papua New Guineans. This success story cannot be possible without the tireless efforts, commitment and dedication of each and every staff and our customers who have held hands with this company for so long.
Since its humble beginning of being an arm of the Post and Telephone Communication Service or PTC, they have seen various reforms that have seen Telecom evolved into a state-owned entity. They have been diversifying business to keep up with demand and venturing into new market trends. This has seen the company come up with various products and services with the acquisition of Daytech, EMTV FM 100 and services like Telecom TV.
Papua New Guineans were involved in managing and operating those assets and now transforming them into the digital era. We have competition issues that we are facing at the moment. 65 years has only given us experience to position as well to provide better services for the people.
As part of its celebration today, an IT laboratory was also launched to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Telecom Foundation. The IT lab will be accessible for schools, students, SME and other partners. The lab is equipped with 11 computers, allowing users to access free internet.
Our objective is to improve literacy through technology-enabled solutions. We have come so far to change the technologies and also to reach out to our country wide. We have covered about 17 provinces and we are persevering to cover all 22 provinces.
In line with this celebration, Telecom has dropped its data bundle prices, running a promotion for 64 gigabytes for a week, and they will be running a roadshow at the weekend to promote Telecom TV. Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
Trukai Sports is next. Fidelis Sukina is at the sports desk.
Thank you, Charmaine. We have news on Capital Rugby Union and some community sports. Join me for Trukai Sports after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Good night and welcome to Trukai Sports. The Capital Rugby Union over the weekend started their shortened 2020 season with only the men's premier competition getting the green light to play. The competition is without spectators and is expected to finish after just 10 rounds. It has been tough for sports competitions in the nation's capital, with the COVID-19 pandemic imposed lockdowns extending the pre-season further. Capital Rugby Union, the premier rugby union competition in the capital city, has had to endure more than its required pre-season on the sidelines. Just this Saturday, the competition started their shortened season. With so many boxes to tick to comply with protocols, it's only the men's premier competition, going ahead with 8 teams to play just 10 rounds.
It's a 2020 season in its limited format. By that I mean that we only have 10 matches and we will only cater for the Premier Division. All our reserve and junior matches and women's have been kept off. We're only commencing with our Premier and we will finish with our Premier in a 10-round, summarized 10-round competition for 2020.
Pepe Gotaha, matchday coordinator of the CRU, says it's just the usual teams from the previous season that are battling it out for the premiership.
The CRU board had received submissions for new teams to come in, but they decided not to accept those applications and deferred it because it's a short season and with the numbers that are limited by the COVID-19 protocols of less than 100 people at the field at any one time. We could only accommodate for the current 8 teams that are affiliated to the Capital Rugby Union.
Like all competitions in the city of Port Moresby, under the Sports Foundation facilities, they are forced to cut down on spectators.
It's a start which the players were looking forward to. I mean, there's little we can do. We are also under the guidelines and restrictions imposed on us by the Pandemic Controller, Police Commissioner David Manning, and the Pandemic Management Committee. So therefore, we're only complying with the rules that they have given us in order to kick off our competition.
The main game of the day was between two of the most consistent teams in the competition in the past 2 years, the Harlequins and the Brothers. It was a tough match for both teams after a long stint on the sidelines. It proved tough despite Brothers being the defending premiers. The Harleys dug deep to snatch the victory, 18 points to 17. Weekends are a time to relax and lay back, but for sportsmen and women, it's an opportunity to get the blood pumping. Community sports in the city of Port Moresby are more or less a social event. An arid surface does little to deter these sportsmen and women. This community competition is picking up pace in the suburb of Waigani, up in the Games Village Police Barracks, and is pulling in interest from the nearby communities.
Molain lo barracks all surrounding community lo all the rest also molain lo upside street, olain tamlo lo Waigani market, all sakari mol team lo kamatap so. I mean this time first year lo se boldarap la big players number of outside team come inside.
A longing for sports activities and normal Sunday afternoon socialization has brought in interest with 20 teams in both the men's touch competition and the women's volleyball.
That's 20 teams. Volleyball too, 20 teams. Volleyball all merit as well.
This year, though, a short season with finals expected sooner than the previous years.
Now we start inside game 12 now. So we make it one round. We finishing of game game 30. Game 30, but we go into finals after game 30.
It's a community social activity and it's something to take the mind off from a hectic week elsewhere, with much enthusiasm on the sidelines and on the field of play.
It's like we work in a community, also cycle up weekend as well. Normal days come, we'll make him all walk ball. Come weekend, over man come bung lo field, watch him game support go na I'll go back Laos.
And more stories after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
And welcome back to Trukai Sports. First of its kind rural volleyball tournament hosted by one of PNG's elite association, formally started today in Tubuseria village in Central Province. With support from the KAIWI member, the tournament will be an avenue to scout possible national reps.
The inaugural rural tournament has been officiated today. The Isoaimo Cup is set to see over 50 registered clubs from Central Province showcase raw talents over the 4 days of volleyball action. Wali Irao, president of the FEFEX Volleyball Association, thanked the member for KAIWI district for sponsoring the tournament. He said that sports plays an important role in nation building and is one of the primary focus of human integral development. The president adding that the tournament is more than just volleyball. Part of its objectives include the code as a tool for social intervention to the youths in Central Province. Vice President of PNG Olympics Committee, Kila Dick, applauded the FEFEX management.
We talk about sports as a tool for integral human development. It's a tool to connect with the villages and promote not only the sports but the economical benefits for our peoples.
The tournament is the beginning of a project set out by the hosts for player pathway programs.
We, FEFEX Volleyball Association, we're looking forward to mentoring, especially the village players that have never been exposed, because I'm pretty sure that most of the village players, they don't have the skills and they still don't know the latest rules and regulations established.
As FEFEX Association sets out on scouting talents in rural areas, they have the backing of the local Member of Parliament.
The aim to bring the rural talents under microscope, and if they are recognized and they are chosen, good luck. Member has sponsored boxes going to Apia and even soccer, especially the young people within KAIWI electorate.
The tournament is set to run throughout the Independence Week and will hold grand finals on the 17th September 2020. Kilawani, Trukai Sports.
Amidst this economic crisis from the impact of COVID-19, many sporting events have had to deal with the lack of sponsorship and funding. Fortunately for the KAIWI Rugby League in the Southern Confederate, they have been able to secure sponsorship.
KAIWI Rugby League received another financial boost. 10,000 kina from Pacific Balance Fund Agro Limited.
On behalf of PBF Board, MTSL, PBF Agro Board, na President Chief Finance Officer Blamibla.
Acting Chief Executive Officer, retired Major General Jerry Singarok, in doing the presentation said this was part of the company's commitment to the local community.
Present him a one blood check, long support him club.
Jonah Oga, on behalf of the local clubs, was thankful for the funds.
Participation in the local rugby league is an indication that we support the community. We just want to be good community members so that together we can bring in development.
The KAIWI Rugby League is in its 8th round of competition and will see its grand final in early October. Meantime, Southern Confederate Director Gwaibo Mairi congratulated the management as during these difficult times where many organizations are struggling financially, KRL is receiving a lot of support. Kilawani, Trukai Sports.
And that story ends Trukai Sports. Charmaine will be back with the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Good night.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Moniplus, with you always.
Weather forecast for this morning and today. The southern region, Port Moresby, fine tonight and tomorrow. Daru, cloudy with light drizzles tonight, then fine. Kerema and Popondetta, mostly fine, partly cloudy tonight and tomorrow. Alotau, partly cloudy with a few showers tonight, then fine tomorrow. In the Mamasa region, late chances of rain showers, drizzles tonight, then fine morning. Medang, mostly fine, partly cloudy tonight and tomorrow. Wewak and Vanimo, mostly fine tonight, then partly cloudy with morning light showers. In the New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, thundery rain showers easing tonight, a fine cloudy morning. KAIWI, a few thundery showers tonight and fine partly cloudy morning. Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, partly cloudy with a few showers tonight, then fine morning. And Buka, chances of thundery showers tonight, then fine partly cloudy morning. In the Highlands region, light drizzles tonight, then morning fog. In Mount Hagen, in Goroka and Kundiawa, partly cloudy with rain drizzles tonight, then morning fog. Mendi and Wabek, evening rain showers, then morning fog. Forecast for small crabs for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru to Kerma to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samarai Island, with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of Samarai Island to East Cape to Cape Vogel through Huon Gulf to Finchafen, with waters of Finchafen through Vitias Dampier Straits to CRC Long Islands to Karkar Island, and waters of Karkar Island to Wewak to Aitape to the northern PNG Indonesian border, and with waters of West New Britain seas 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of New Ireland, East New Britain and Bougainville seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral seas rough with southeast winds at 25 to 33 knots. The Solomon seas moderate to patches rough with southeast winds at 20 to 25 knots. The Bismarck seas slight to rather rough with southeast winds at 20 to 33 knots with gusts to 45 knots. The Pacific Ocean sees slight to moderate with southeast winds at 10 to 20 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
The way it is this Monday, 14 September 2020, 2 more days to Independence Day. Don't forget our special My Province, My Country is right after the news. From all of us here at MTV, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.